Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Welcome to the Computer or Mobile Doesn't Matter webinar. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. If you'd like to ask a question during the presentation, please use the chat feature located in the lower left corner of your screen. If you need to reach an operator at any time, please press *0. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded Thursday, November 13th, 2014. I would now like to turn the conference over to Melanie Degnan. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today, and welcome to Computer or Mobile Doesn't Matter. I'd like to go ahead and introduce our speaker for today, Silvana Milenkova, SVP, Research and Strategic Direction. Silvana joined BuzzBack in 2006 and focuses on early-stage product development, packaging, and communications research. She has a versatile background conducting both qualitative and quantitative research in a variety of industries, including technology, CPG, and healthcare, and specializes in early-stage product development, decision-making, as well as communication research. Fluent in 5 languages and an experienced global researcher, she brings over 15 years of client-side experience. Silvana, please go ahead.
Thank you, Melanie. Hello, everyone. What we'll try to do in the next 20 minutes or so is kind of twofold. First, we want to take a look at how people evaluate claims and if there's better or worse ways of doing so and why that may be important for different business issues. But we'll also take a look at whether the mode of data collection matters and if we can learn something about collecting data and evaluating claims. More as a case example in this case, when it comes to doing that on a PC, on a kind of laptop, desktop, or more on a mobile device, and kind of what are some of the learnings we can have from there and implications for other work coming up. And what we'll try to do, is look into 3 different platforms. One would be, evaluating the claims on smartphone. The other will be on a tablet, and the third will be on a desktop or laptop. And we'll try to do that via multiple quantitative methodologies. So you'll see how, if we were doing claims a sequential way, how they fare versus each of the platforms, as well as a max-diff. But we'll also add more of a qual-quant component and try to understand what that really means and how people think about claims and if they resonate or if we see any differences based on the mode of data collection as to how people perceive the claims. And we'll do that through a case study. We've developed a case study throughout the years, and we'll use it as an example to kind of show you something more concrete. For those of you who don't know us, we focus on early-stage innovation and product and communication development. And also our focus is on understanding. Sometimes, we do this via some of our projective and enabling techniques. Other times, we do that through different methodologies or even innovative technology. And the reason why we think this is important is because more and more, each day we see kind of how the global consumer is changing. People are a lot more mobile. People are a lot more interactive with each other. People are interacting across, continents. And that's kind of being enabled via the technology that's available to them. But not only are they, having conversations about social issues or entertainment, they're also working and collaborating that way. They're responding to research to some degree that way. And when you think about how that has changed also the way they shop and how hard it is for a new product to actually enter the market and be successful, there also has been this interest in playing up claims and having better claims and learning how to be more successful with what you're saying about your product and how you're communicating it. And that's, partly because, it's very hard to introduce a new product and stand out from the crowd. But the other reason for that is, a lot of research has been done in the U.S. and also in some of the other markets, which shows us that people practically buy most of the same 150 products. So that makes it even harder to break through. And, it's a little bit more a collective understanding. You can't just push, only advertising, or you can't just look at kind of your numbers. You have to have the whole strategy work for you. And claims, I think, as a result, has become even more and more important. There are various reasons why people think claims matter. A lot of our clients have different objectives, but most of the time, they're trying to motivate purchase. They're trying to draw attention to their product. In some very crowded categories, they're trying to differentiate, so they're looking for the best thing that they can say and how to communicate that. But in other cases, and even kind of as a more broader holistic way, it also is part of their global or total strategy, whether it's for their brand, whether that's for their product, and how they're going to communicate and explain what that product is and why it has a certain benefit. And when it comes to us, kind of what do we have to bring to this conversation is we've been working with a lot of our clients throughout the years, ranging from CPG to pharma industries, kind of throughout across the board, to try to understand what are some of the better ways to evaluate claims. And we've done that with our clients. We've done that internally ourselves as a research on research. We've done that with partnerships throughout. And the reason is that, we had a lot of clients coming to us and asking us to evaluate claims, but had no specific approach or no specific assumptions going in. They had tried a few methodologies, kind of gotten some results back, weren't quite sure if that was the best way to do it. And we're just kind of trying and looking for guidance from us in terms of what is a better way or how maybe they should consider evaluating claims. And as we worked with them throughout the years and also kind of internally, we decided to compare for over the past few years a number of methodologies. So we've done some work. This was only on PC, just to give you a bit of the background and kind of the lay of the land. And we looked at 5 different methodologies. We looked at sequential, whether the claims are on-pack or off-pack. We looked at the max-diff approach, which is more of a choice approach, and a number of different items that were shown together. And we also looked at the Kano approach, which kind of ties the claims to customer satisfaction. And we conducted this research to kind of give us some baseline understanding of what are some ways to evaluate claims and how they stack up against each other. And we've done that on the cookie example, which I will show you in a second, just so we had a specific product to create claims for. And when we looked at that stage at these different methods and all of these 15 claims we had developed for this cookie, we didn't see a major difference across each of the methodologies. So whether we had the claim on pack or off pack, and that was important to some of our clients because they didn't know if they need to wait for all of their communications materials to be ready to test claims, or could they do it in isolation. It seemed to us that didn't seem to make a huge difference. It also didn't seem to matter whether the respondent was rating the claims or if they were choosing, and that is kind of another philosophical difference of people believing that in some cases choices may be more intuitive, or other people believing that scales give you more information because you have more data points. So at the end of the day, all this work was done, and this is just one of the examples, kind of told us that the methodology isn't really driving kind of which claims rise to the top, which is kind of what you would like to see, just because you still want to find the best claims for your product or service, and that should not be dependent on the method. Now, as this was happening and we're kind of looking at what our next steps are and looking at different categories and trying to see if there are differences in maybe more specialized categories or more emotive categories, we also started seeing that the world is increasingly mobile, and this has been going on for quite a while now, but even more so in the past few years. And when we looked at kind of what people are doing online, there was a lot of email, text, picture sharing, social media, even shopping online, which kind of goes back to, as I was telling you before, this idea of the changing shopping environment and how people are more interactive with their phones and shopping in a different way. But what they weren't doing is really doing research or giving a lot of feedback that way. Still, though, this is kind of what the smartphone penetration was in 2013, and it's expected to become almost 6 billion in the next 5 years. Even more interestingly, tablets have exponentially grown, and I think they will continue to grow in the next year or so. But what's interesting when we look at what people do on tablets and kind of how they use them, it was a lot of multitasking, and it was also a lot of entertainment, a lot of social networking, a lot of listening to music, reading, browsing. So again, research has not been a huge part of this, but it is something that we anticipate to change, because when we look at trends in the past few years, tablet and smartphone survey taking has increased kind of steadily. There is like an upward trend there. And yes, still a lot of research is done on desktops, but it is a decreasing trend. And we anticipated with the huge growth of penetration, and even in some of the developing markets, people completely skipping the desktop and laptop and going to a smartphone or tablet, this will continue to grow. And we have to kind of take a look and see kind of where the research stands.